What is going on, everybody? Project Rod right here, and it is time for Racing and Skills here in Oakland at our fourth stop of the Stadium Series. Qualifying is in the books, and this is the leaderboards after that. Northern Nightmare still in first place with 130. Monster Mode Dalmatian now in second with 105. Max D in third with 104. Blue Thunder in fourth, 102. Gravedigger in fifth, 101. So on and so forth. This is the race bracket going into racing today. As you can see, Dalmatian, Monster Mode Max D, and Blue Thunder have the bye runs to the second round, 4 being the top 4 qualifiers. Now let's go ahead and get started with round 1 as we have Zombie versus Mohawk Warrior. Now Zombie was the truck that lost in the semifinal round back in Atlanta against Monster Mode Dalmatian and April Summers, which ultimately gave her back-to-back win. Back-to-back racing win, so I'm sure he'd love to come back and try to win it all again. Hopefully, Mohawk Warrior kind of losing a little bit of control there. That might cost him the race so long as Zombie can stay in control. Zombie almost running into trouble, but it looks like he's able to control it, and he's going to get the win. It's obvious who the winner is here. Zombie will be going on to round 2 with a 23.36, and if I'm not mistaken, the way the bracket works, we're going to have a repeat of the championship race back in Atlanta, the one that I was just talking about. So, moving on to the second race of round 1, El Toro Loco versus Avenger. Now, Avenger was our fastest qualifier back in Atlanta, and unfortunately lost to Zombie in the semifinals after he flipped and pretty much wrecked after the first race jump. So, hoping to come back, but looks like it's coming back to bite him, and he's wrecking again. This race is going to go to El Toro Loco. That right lane has taken his first victim. 22.63 for El Toro and a DNF for Avenger. Very unfortunate, but Avenger will be moving on to round 2 as we have Whiplash versus Northern Nightmare. Northern Nightmare finally getting his first official win. I guess first official win coming in a freestyle win. Back in Atlanta, Whiplash looking like she struggled a little bit, and it might cost her some, just depending on how Northern Nightmare can keep it. This right lane has been causing a lot of drivers' issues, especially in qualifying. We had 7 DNFs or DSQs during qualifying, but an easy win for Northern Nightmare. 23.14 is his time. Whiplash unfortunately knocked out. And so Northern Nightmare moving on to round 2 as we have our final race of round 1. It's going to be Gravedigger versus Bakugan. Bakugan being our back-to-back freestyle winner, who didn't quite have it back in Atlanta. You know, that win went to Northern Nightmare, as I mentioned. But other than that, has been doing not too bad. Has struggled in racing a little bit. Hasn't really made it too far. Gravedigger, though, kind of somewhat of the same. But Bakugan looking like he's getting into some trouble. And it's not going to matter. Gravedigger had more trouble than he did. Bakugan with the easy win as he flips over. He's able to save it, though, 22.54 for Bakugan. So that finishes off round 1 as we move on to round 2. This is our bracket. We're going to have a repeat of the championship race from Atlanta. Monster Mode Dalmatian and Zombie is going to be starting us off in round 2. So it's going to get interesting. Let's see as we move on to round 2. Let's see what's going to happen. Is Zombie going to get his payback, his revenge for losing last time around and moving on to the semifinals? Or is Monster Mode Dalmatian and April Summers going to move on to the semifinals once again for a 3rd time in a row? It all comes down to this. Monster Mode Dalmatian was our fastest qualifier, and it looks like Zombie's a little bit behind. He's had some ground to cover. It all comes down to this. Zombie going into some trouble again. He's flipping over. Monster Mode Dalmatian, April Summers getting the easy win. This time around, Zombie, that's it. He's going to finish the race just to go ahead and get a time. Luckily, he was able to stay on all 4s, but Monster Mode Dalmatian, a 22.36, taking the win and moving on to the semifinals. Zombie being eliminated as Monster Mode Dalmatian, regular Monster Mutt versus El Toro Loco. Now, Monster Mutt looks like he might be playing some mind games here. He actually had the faster time in the left lane, and El Toro Loco struggled and got a DNF in the right lane. So he might be using that against him. Some kind of tactic here. I wonder if it's going to pay off. And it looks like it will. El Toro Loco losing control in that lane over there. Monster Mutt going to take an easy win here. El Toro Loco, he's going to finish the race, but he lost. The mind games worked. 22.21 for Monster Mutt. He is moving to the semifinals. That's actually really cool. It's the first time I've seen some mind games, I believe, so far in any of these events as Max D and Northern Nightmare come out. That was very smart by Monster Mutt to go ahead and do that. Put him in the weaker lane. But Max D and Northern Nightmare looking like they're somewhat even going into the turn. This one should be a close race, but these little jumps here are the ones that screw you up. Northern Nightmare going into some trouble, but so is Max D. It's going to cost Max D more as Northern Nightmare goes and takes the win from Max D at 22.38. He's moving on to the semifinals and our last race of round 2, which should be an interesting one because Blue Thunder raced and beat Northern Nightmare way back in Anaheim in our first event and beat Northern Nightmare in racing in the championship race and took the win. So we might get another repeat of championship races as Bakugan has trouble early on. He clipped that jump, but he was able to stay within the line, so he's good. He's not disqualified yet. But looks like it already cost him. Blue Thunder has the advantage and looks like he's going to be facing off Northern Nightmare in the semifinals. So we're going to get a repeat of the championship race from Anaheim as Bakugan flip it over. Crazy wild ending to that race. But here's the semifinal round. Mutt versus Mutt. First off, Dalmatian versus regular Monster Mutt, and then Northern Nightmare and Blue Thunder, the repeat of the championship race back in Anaheim. So, first off, we have the two Mutts of the series going against each other. Now, this is the first time that they have met in racing, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, if Monster Mutt Dalmatian wins, April Summers will be going to the final race for the third time in a row, and is going to be given an opportunity to go for 3 for 3. But if Monster Mutt wins, it's going to be the first time in the finals for him. But it all comes down to this last turn, and it looks like Monster Mutt Dalmatian may have had it. I'm sure she did, as she does with our fastest time of the day at 21.89 for Monster Mutt Dalmatian. April Summers is going back to the final race here in Oakland as we have the repeat, the rerun, re-race, rematch, there you go, rematch of the championship race back in Anaheim. So who's it going to be? Blue Thunder and Northern Nightmare. They're going even in the jumps. But it all comes down to this. But Northern Nightmare clipping the jump, back flipping and keeping it on all fours, it looks like. But it's it. It's over so long as Blue Thunder can keep it on all fours. And he is. It's going to be a clean finish. So Blue Thunder will be going to the final race, the championship race against Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So this is it. It's over. Or not over, but this is the final race. We're going to have Monster Mutt Dalmatian and April Summers going in for her third racing win in a row. And Blue Thunder going for his second total win, as he was our first original racing winner back in Anaheim. So it all comes down to this, the final race. Who's it going to be? Monster Mutt Dalmatian was stronger in the right lane, but looks like she's going to take a page out of Monster Mutt's book, play some mind games, and put Blue Thunder in the right lane. So let's see if the mind tricks pay off. Blue Thunder looks like he has a little bit of an advantage going into that jump. But they're somewhat even on this turn. It all comes down to this. Are these jumps going to affect any of them? It all comes down to this. Oh, April Summers! April Summers is losing it. She's bicycling it. Blue Thunder's going to finish the race and take the win. DNF for Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Blue Thunder and MT World Media is your racing winner here in Oakland today. So congratulations to Blue Thunder getting his second win of the series, their second racing win of the series. So here you go. This is how the racing bracket was completed, was done after today. Blue Thunder getting his second win, knocking out Monster Mutt Dalmatian, preventing her from going 3 for 3 in racing in the Stadium Series this season. This is your points after the fact. Northern Nightmare with 139, Monster Mutt Dalmatian 116, Blue Thunder right behind her with 114. So it's getting really, really close in this series. I'm very, very interested on what it's going to look like at the end of this. Oh, man. We have 2 more events to go, and that's skills and freestyle. And Monster Mutt is our first person coming out to do skills. And oh, man, this is exciting. This is very exciting. Ah, man. I'm really curious to see how all this is going to play out. That 5th and final event is going to be what determines, what really determines this whole series and who's going to win it. So, very, very interesting. The hype is real. But Monster Mutt coming out. Let me go ahead and switch gears here. A nice wheelie running across for Monster Mutt. And that is going to be the end as we wait for the scores to come in. Ryan Hayward, the driver, was in 8th place last time around at Atlanta. So, Let's see what his scores is going to be. Here we go. And a 7.882, so not the best score coming out. But still a pretty good job as Morales TCS and Whiplash come out with a nice sky wheelie, I guess. Big air sky wheelie. I'm not sure what she was trying to do there. I'm sure she was just trying to go for a regular wheelie. But looks like she's going to go for it again. So some nice air and a wheelie. And is she going to run it all the way across for a front flip? She is! Our first front flip here in Atlanta. She lands it cleanly. Incredible job on Morales TCS at 9.288. So right off the bat, taking first place with a pretty substantially high score. That was incredible. Our first front flip of the series. Not of the series, but of today's stop. Mohawk Warrior, kind of an awkward flip here. Almost, I don't even know what to say. I'm a little lost the words now. He's bicycling it. Still struggling with that word. But great job for Mohawk Warrior. That should impress the judges. That was actually very impressive. It was a lot of flips and saves, and I don't even know what to say. But that was nice. He looks like he's going to end it with some donuts into some cyclones. And that's going to be the end of his run as we wait for the scores to come in. 9.288 is the score to beat from Whiplash. Here we go. And a 9.708. So the front flip was not enough to take the win, but take the lead, but ultimately the win, I guess. For Whiplash, Mohawk Warrior taking the lead as Eddie Garcia Jr. and Zombie come out. Nice wheelie across. Zombie was 11th last time in skill, so I'm sure he's hoping to turn things around here. Looks like he tried to combo it up there, but just didn't quite get it. So let's see what his second attempt is going to bring. Looks like he may go for a wheelie, and he is. So another wheelie. And that one, okay, he slammed it down for a stoppie into a moonwalk, but trouble. Is he going to be able to save it? He is. He's going to be able to keep it on all fours as we wait for the scores to come in. And an 8.250, so not good enough. Only good enough for third place at the moment as Bakugan Dragonoid come out. And Lane Flores, too. I'm sure he would love to get some kind of win here in order to get a good amount of points. Looks like he's going to go for a stoppie into a possible moonwalk. I'm sure there it is. He's going to moonwalk it up and some trouble. No! He was able to land it just right to where it benefits him, and he's able to moonwalk it all the way down. And that was a pretty good first attempt. Woo! Throat's starting to hurt a little bit from all this yelling. But let's see what his second attempt is going to bring. And he's going to go for some donuts too. Some donuts into some cyclones, I'm sure. There it is. I thought he was going to get a bicycle there, but no. And he ends up on his side there. He's going to try to save it, but the scores are coming in an 8.985. So a very impressive score, however, not good enough to take the lead. Only good enough for third place as El Toro Loco comes out. Let's see what he's going to do here. Julian Peacock Jr., a nice stoppie, moonwalk. He's going to try to go for the reverse flip, but didn't get it, although he did a nice combo there. That should score well with the judges. Looks like he's going to attempt it again. This has kind of become his trademark alongside Monster Mud Dalmatian. And he's able to get the flip this time, but seemed a little more forced, I guess, if that makes sense. But it all comes down to the judges. See what they think. He is our midway point. And 8.352, so not good enough. The judges not really too big fans of it. But Mohawk Warrior with a 9.708. Whiplash 9.288. Bakugan 8.985. Toro 8.352. Zombie 8.250. And Mutt 7.882. So those are your current leaders as we have the 7th truck coming out in Blue Thunder, getting a racing win. I'm sure he'd love to come back and double down for a skills win. But some trouble here as he's flipping all sorts of ways. Is he going to be able to save it? Yes, just barely enough momentum to keep him back on all fours. So, looks like the truck is good. He should be able to continue, but that was just a little bit of craziness there. But I'm sure it'll score well because that was impressive. Looks like he changed his mind on what his second attempt was going to be. Luckily, there's no deduction to backing up during the skills challenge. But here we go. Looks like he's going to go for a wheelie, I'm sure. He's going to ride the wheelie out. Let's see how far he can take it. This jump might give him a little bit of a hiccup. No. Yep, a little bit of a moonwalk. But that's it for Blue Thunder. Is he going to be able to save it? As we wait for the scores to come in, no, an 8.419 for Blue Thunder, so not good enough to take the lead, as Monster Mutt Dalmatian and April Summers, who I'm sure is very disappointed in losing the race in the final round, but still got a good amount of points to stay right on the heels of Northern Nightmare. Looks like she's going to go for the same thing, and she's going to land it. I'm sure she's thinking in her head, that's how you do it, El Toro, that's how you do the trick. She is finally getting it down. Looks like she's going to go and chase her tail with some donuts for her second attempt. Nicely done. Nothing too crazy, it seemed like. Didn't really get that crazy cyclone action in, but the scores are coming in. Let's see what it's going to be. And then 9.417, so I believe good enough for second place at the moment, as Max D and Ethan Waters comes out. Now, Max D had the skills win in Atlanta. Came out and just dominated and took that win, so I'm sure he'd love a repeat here, but some trouble. Really not sure what's going on. He's really trying to keep it on all fours, and he's able to. Not sure how that's going to score, but it all comes down to the judges, so he has one more attempt. Curious to see what he's going to go for. Looks like he's going to go for some donuts too, so a lot of drivers seem to be going for him. And trouble again, possibly. No, he's able to save it. A little bit of a bicycle. Keeping it in control there as he waits for the scores to come in, and a 7.687. So, yeah, I wasn't too sure on how that would score, but there you go. There's the result. As Avenger comes out, I'm sure he's upset with his racing and qualifying performance. But a huge sky wheelie coming out into a wheelie. You know he loves getting his huge air. That's his signature move. He's going to ride it all the way across. Pump the brakes. There we go. He tried to combo it up with a moonwalk, but didn't get quite enough momentum. So, what's he going to do here? Thought he was going to go for a donut too. I was going to say, man, another one. Let's see. Is he going to go for another sky wheelie? Yes, he is. Huge air sky wheelie. And an awkward landing. Okay, he's able to save it. All comes down to the judges. I don't think that'll score too well either, but we're going to have to wait and see. And it is an 8.330, so not bad. Not enough for the lead, as our second to last truck comes out in Gravedigger. And Tom Holland Spider-Man being the driver. Gravedigger looking like he's going to go for a stoppie into a moonwalk. Now, how far is he going to walk it? He's taking it far. How far is far? And maybe some trouble as he slams into the wall there. Luckily, it was a good enough angle to where he was able to keep it on all fours, but I'm sure that hurt. I wouldn't doubt it. But first attempt is in the books. Here comes the second one. Looks like he's going to go for a donut too. That's just a fan favorite. So they're just going for it today, but looks like he didn't quite get it, so I'm not sure how this is going to score. A lot of donuts, but some of them just haven't been clicking too well. And a 9.1, so actually scored really well. I'm sure it was that first attempt that got him those points. So, good outing for Gravedigger, as Northern Nightmare, our last truck, comes out for skills today. Riding a wheelie all the way across the stadium. I'm sure he's kicking himself in the rear for losing that semifinal race. He just clipped that jump, and it just sent him back flipping over that turn there, and ultimately cost him the race. But still in first place, has a pretty substantial lead, so we'll see what happens. And looks like this attempt isn't going to be any better than the first one. First one wasn't bad, but the second attempt didn't look like he didn't quite get what he was trying to do. As the scores come in, and a 3.682, that is going to hurt him, as Mohawk Warrior is your skills winner today. That is the little bit of a combo, I guess to call it, that gave him the win. So, this is your the leaderboards after skills. You can see Mohawk Warrior in first, Dalmatian second, Whiplash third, Gravedigger fourth, so on and so forth. This is your updated leaderboard ending skills and moving into freestyle. Northern Nightmare still in first place, but Dalmatian closing that gap. 13 points behind. Blue Thunder in third with 121. So at this point, it's anybody's game. We have freestyle left. So can't wait to see how that turns out, and I can't wait to see you guys there.